Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and I just finished Masters of the Universe Revelation, and I didn't just love it, Oprah loved it! Okay, I understand if she's gonna click off this video right now. I deserve it. So anyway, I did just finish it about 10 minutes ago. It ends on a cliffhanger, and a really great visual. I won't spoil that. Even though I spoiled a major spoiler in a review of, or, in kind of talking about this on my main channel. But at that point, everyone was so down on it, I just assumed nobody was going to like it. So I was like, first of all, I'm spoiling something that everyone talks about in all the videos anyway. And I'm spoiling something that no one likes. And then I watched it and I'm like, yeah, I think I know who this cartoon was made for. It wasn't made for He-Man fans. It was made for lesbians who work at Netflix headquarters, and also me. And we're not the same. I don't work at Netflix. But anyway, so I did like it a lot. It's got one huge problem. The main character is a complete cunt. And you might say, hey, that's no way to speak about He-Man. Well, I'm not speaking about He-Man that way because he's not the main character. He is, in effect, a cameo in the show. Now, there have been plenty of very, very good videos on Heels versus Babyface, Nerdrotic, Clownfish TV, obviously, about all of the ridiculous rakes that Kevin Smith has set out for himself and stepped on and then hit himself in the face and then blamed it on the fans. Just to encapsulate, Kevin Smith got, how they say, busted in 4K multiple times with old tweets that talked about how he hated He-Man or he never watched it, and then when he got hired, he loved it. Of course, he loved it now. He's getting paid a lot of money, and he's got a really high-profile position at a Netflix show that's getting a lot of attention. So he got angry and then angrier and then angrier, and then it looks like him or his legal team or his agent or whatever, they got Variety and all of these shill media sites to basically accuse the fans of review bombing, which is just not liking something. I understand if the show hasn't come out, and back in the day where Rotten Tomatoes where you could review it, it's not even out yet. But no, it was literally I saw this article. It's some of these are legitimate criticisms and others are just hate. And then the two examples they gave basically read exactly the same. So Kevin Smith, there's some, dumb stuff. Oh, I love He-Man. Okay, this tweet from 11 years ago said he hated it. I don't think that's a huge deal. And then even other things kind of fibbing about the, plot because, as he admitted later, oh, I didn't want to admit that, the plot leaked, so I said that they were lying. It's not cool, but I understand why he did that. There are some, and then I even did another video where I said Kevin Smith is doing literally the only thing he's allowed to do. It's a Netflix show in 2021. You don't get to have a white, straight, blonde-haired, cisgender male as the lead character. You just don't. It's Netflix. It's very female-centric, as is a lot of things. There's this movie, The Last Duel. It's got Adam Driver and Matt Damon as European knights. Okay, fine, whatever. But those are major stars, especially Adam Driver. He's definitely up and coming. And I watched the trailer, and most of the trailer is generic vistas of Europe and a woman. It's called The Last Duel. We need to see weapons and the two guys fighting and a castle, not sweeping vistas. And so it's just a trend that everything has to be female centric. So it's a Netflix show. It has to be female centric. Now, the simplest thing you do is you just say, this is the Masters of the Universe told from the point of view of Tila. And you can talk about how, she really loves He-Man, and we'll get more into that later, but she feels like he steals thunder, and, the team does a lot of the work. But no, it's just okay, we're going to shave the side of her head. We're going to put a binder on her. And this is total. I actually became obsessed with this thing. I'm sure they would call it an armored vest. It's a binder. It is literally meant to squash her breasts down so she looks more like a man. Now, I'm going to do this one image for the thumbnail and the other one for the one you're looking at right now. And I just want to say, this has been a major promotional piece. This, group of like the 5 actual main characters for the miniseries. It's very short. It's 5 episodes. Their arms are not this big in most of the scenes. In most of the scenes, they basically look like, I'm blanking on her name, Jessica Biel in Blade Trinity. They're fit, but they still look like women. This looks like dude bodies. I don't know. I mean, I know why they picked this. It's just because you could get all 5 of the characters together in one shot. But that's not what they look like all the time. Some of the time, yes, but not all the time. You know how it is with hand-drawn animation. Like, it's hard to make everyone look exactly on model every single scene. That is actually why I picked the thumbnail for the video I did. So in the first episode, they show Evelyn and Tila looking basically like they did back in the day in the 1980s, updated a little bit. And in my opinion, it looks kind of stupid. It looks like Barbies fighting. So I do understand why they changed it. But I don't, and I unfortunately understand why they had to make Tila look as much like an angry lesbian as possible. And let's all be honest about that. She's supposed to look like a lesbian. Now, here's the funny thing. She isn't. I know a couple people said, oh, there's this sideways, Google eyes glance between Tila and I think her name is Ardra. But it's like one glance in 5 episodes. There's this one like half a hug. And then in the rest of it, they literally are just kind of like a pair of adventurers. So there's a lot of stuff to unpack, as they say. I'm going to say the good stuff first. And basically everyone says this. Amazing animation. American animation. I have not seen this good, on TV, on streaming, I think, ever. The story, the basic plot is fine, except for Tila's, emotional subplot. Like the idea that He-Man is gone for a while, that the Sword of Power was split in 2, that there's kind of a flash forward and things have changed. That's all fine. And especially the pace. Like, I love the pace. It reminded me of the old G.I. Joe miniseries. I hated the series, but the miniseries were great from the 80s because it was just relentless. Like, every single scene was a different location, a different enemy. Like, it was really great. There was a lot of stuff that happened in 5 episodes. The problem was just that Tila was a cunt. Tila was a cunt. They what do they call it? They queer baited with her design. I don't believe she's gay at all. In fact, I think the revelation, no pun intended, from the 2nd season, although they're being weird about it, they're like, this is the first 5 episodes of season 1. You're like, okay, so it's season 1. No, it's the first 5 episodes. Oh, okay, are the rest going to be released weekly? No. They'll be out in 6 months or so. Okay, so that's a different season. They're being weird about it. But this obviously it's a cliffhanger. It's a very good cliffhanger. It's a 5 episode season. This animation style is very expensive, so I understand why it's 5 episodes. That also makes me understand more why Kevin Smith is getting very frustrated with people, because I'm guessing in his mind, this is just the first half of the first season. So he's like, all these things that people are crucifying me for, if you just see episode 7 and 10, you'll see that why we did what we did. But we don't get to see that. This is what you get. This is the first 5 episodes. And Kevin Smith, doing little fibs and then get angry and then doubling down on them, that's one thing. But the thing that really bothers me is the full court press with his media connections to castigate people, to attack clownfish. Now, when I said I understood it, that doesn't mean I approve of it. I just understand why he did it, because there were leaks. Now, is it the Tila show? I would say it wasn't. So one of his things is like, the leaks are like, it's the Tila show. And Kevin Smith got really angry. He's like, it's not the Tila show. But you go to Netflix and every single episode description for the episode list, it says Tila does this, Tila. And Netflix thinks it's a Tila show. I see it as an ensemble show. Because to me, an ensemble is you can hate the lead and still enjoy the show. Tila is okay. Tila has the stupidest like emotional subplot. He-Man dies heroically, saving all of Eternia from exploding or disintegrating. I forget which one. And then, in a really emotional scene where King Randor is told like He-Man died in battle, and he's like, "Oh, he was a very brave soul." And then the Queen starts crying, and she's like, "Prince Adam was He-Man." So Prince Randor punishes Man-at-Arms. Oh gosh, okay, I got to sidebar into that. Like the first thing you see of Tila, it's a hero entrance, even though she was a supporting character. And then like the first thing, like Man-at-Arms just like compliments her. It's like, "You're so good at this, so good at this, you did this." And then there's a later scene where she compliments herself, and then the major event is her being promoted to Man-at-Arms. I mean, would that be a ceremony that the king? Maybe. It feels fairly minor. I mean, you're the number one security guard. Okay? You design weapons. It doesn't feel like... It feels like maybe the king would do it like in his office. I don't think he would call the entire kingdom. It's like, "We have a new Man-at-Arms. And it's a woman." Nobody cares. So the main emotional plot is that Tila is very angry at Prince Adam for not saying that he's He-Man, even though he died saving the entire planet. It is petty beyond belief and makes Tila look like a huge cunt. Now, there's this concept called plot armor. It's brought up in anime a lot. Why did this, character survive? Well, plot armor. He's the main character. You can't kill him. I mean, you can like fake kill him like 3 episodes from the end of the season, and then he comes back, or it was a trick. But plot armor. I want to introduce a concept called twat armor. Because there are a million shows where a male character is shown to be abrasive, a jerk, and the point is for him to have a redemption arc, to improve as a person. The thing is, people are constantly telling him he's being an asshole. They're like, "Ah, you're such an asshole, you're so abrasive, you're so rude, you're so egocentric." Tila is a complete cunt, a complete twat, and nobody ever comments on it. Her foster father gets banished for not telling King Randor that Prince Adam is He-Man. She basically goes off on her own side quest to be an adventurer of lost relics with Ardra. And then, I guess years later, when she sees Man-at-Arms, who raised her, he like kneels down and like begs for her forgiveness. And she's like, "Well, if you want my forgiveness, you'll go do this task for me." It's like, he didn't do anything to you. When he got banished and lost his station in life, you abandoned him. Like, nobody. So that's why I call twat armor. I know it's twat in the UK. We say twat over here, and it rhymes with plot, so it works. Twat armor is like, nobody is going to point out that she's being a huge twat. Now, there is some things, and again, I understand why Kevin Smith is frustrated, even if I don't condone his lashing out. As far as I see, she's in love with Prince Adam. That's why she's so butthurt. That makes sense. If she's not in love with him, it doesn't make sense. There's also a scene that I can't believe. It's Evelyn talking to Ardra and Tila, and she's basically saying, don't fall in love with powerful men. They're just about their own career. And I'm so used to every character being a lesbian in almost everything now. A friend of a friend was describing it as a here we go scenes. You got 2 women. They're in the office door closes. Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's like, for people who don't know, if you don't watch a lot of TV, read a lot of comics, the percentage of female characters who are gay is skyrocketing. It is so above what you would ever find in the populace that I call it statistically improbable, or even statistically impossible. Like, some of these comic book universes, so many women are lesbians that literally you wouldn't have future generations. Like, nobody's repopulating the earth in these worlds. I always expect there to be a caption. It's like, Marvel Universe, Earth, population 326,000 people. Like, there's just no people. Every woman is a lesbian. So it's, to me, implied that all of these women are straight, which is kind of shocking in a Netflix, and especially in any kind of geek thing. I mean, did you watch Picard season 1? There's a character who literally in the last scene of the last episode, she reaches over and holds hands with another woman. They're a couple. This woman was never shown to be gay at all. It's literally, I think there's just a quota that, so I almost wonder if Kevin was doing like this weird bit. He's like, okay, draw them like they're lesbians. It's going to get by Netflix brass. They're going to be like, side of the head shaved. She's got the binder, flattened down her chest. Good going, Kevin. You met the metric. Yeah, you did it. You did it. Yeah, lead character's a lesbian. Got it. And he's like, but if you look at it emotionally, it's that she's in love with Prince Adam, and she was hurt that he, didn't confide in her. Now, let's talk about how SJWs are terrified of black people. There are 2 black characters. I believe one has been race bent. I don't know He-Man mythos that well. One is original. You get to meet Grayskull. Castle of Grayskull, you get to meet Grayskull. And you've seen Castle Grayskull. So you can imagine that the dude is just like the scariest, gnarliest. Oh, no, he's like this really friendly black guy with dreads. What's his personality? He's affable. Yeah. No personality. His personality is he's nice and everyone likes him. Now, you might say, what's the character of Ardra? What's her personality? She's nice and everyone likes her and she loves the science. Again, this is a deep cut mainly for comic book fans, but there's been an obsessive compulsive need to have basically every black woman in comics be a lesbian and love the science. So when they introduce this character and she's like, I'm the brains, she's the brawn, I'm like, oh, she loves the science. But she seems to be straight, or, the jury's still out, which I'm still in shock of. So here's another thing. Kevin Smith pulled some real weasel shit, like Hollywood lawyer weasel shit in this Variety. And a lot of people have covered it very well. But he's like, all these fake fans. It's like, dude, you're a fake fan. And He-Man wasn't in every episode. He was in pretty much every episode. They're like, and he lost the sword now and then. It's like, no. You don't get to take one subplot from one episode, then make that the entire plot for your entire show and say that the fans can't cry foul. I have no emotional attachment to this franchise. I always thought I like the designs. I like the names. I mean, Castle Grayskull, that's an awesome name. The design was cool. I remember I had friends who had the toys, but I just thought they were dumb. The arms didn't bend. They repeated a lot of the, like, you'd see like the legs on this character would be repainted on this. It just seemed cheap. The cartoon was trash. It was just a bunch of recycled running cycles. He-Man was always flipping. Like, he was just flipping because, he couldn't stab anyone. There's actually some really good plot twists. Like, plot-wise, this really works. The emotional subplot for Tila does not, but if we find out she's in love with Prince Adam in the second half of season 1, government name season 2, emotionally it makes a lot more sense. I really don't know what they got wrong, besides the stuff I've mentioned. It's definitely made for normies. It's not made for He-Man fans. But there are things that, that was said where he's like, the spirit of He-Man is in every episode. Well, he's either in the episode or they have a flashback. And the bits with He-Man are great. I think they feel like it's like a Superman situation where if you show him too much, it loses the effect. So we're just going to show him a little bit. But I mean, in the battle scenes in the first episode, it's really, really awesome and powerful. I don't know He-Man. He's not like Superman, right? At one point, he punches the ground and all these people fall over. It's like, I never thought he was that strong. I mean, I remember sometimes he would lift like a small boulder or like hold up a gate that had fallen down. And he's not like Superman, right? It's a little indistinct. It's also indistinct with Tila. At one point, she has to fight like 30 guys and she's cracking her knuckles. It's like, I don't think she's super strong, is she? It's kind of, all right. We're going to, no? Just gonna up to your imagination? Okay. So, overall, I give it a recommend. I totally understand if you're deeply emotionally invested in the franchise like I am. I always joke that I like franchises that you're not supposed to like that much. Like, I am really, really into Expendables. Like, it's like my Godfather. And I think even the people who made it are like, you're not supposed to like it that much, you know? Like, you're not supposed to be emotionally invested in like Lee Christmas and Lacey's relationship. Like, what happened? She's not in the third movie. I mean, did they break up or are they on a break? Did she leave him? Did she go back to the guy from the basketball court in the first movie? I think it was a firefighter. Like, what's going on? You're not supposed to be into that much. Like when John Wick, like he cuts his finger off. Like I was like so heartbroken. No one else cared. They're like, it's just a plot point. Who cares? I'm like, he wouldn't do that, man. Like he would find a different way. What if it was like a fake finger and he like had his real finger like bent down? And then he shows like he's got this bandolier of like fake fingers. Anyway, it was good. I understand if you're butthurt. I definitely understand if you're clownfish and you're angry at Kevin Smith because he really just did them wrong. It was that was real some Hollywood weasel stuff. And you can do a whole other video about Kevin Smith used to be the guy who would like tweak the nose of Hollywood and now he's like the number one shill. Creatively, this is a solid cartoon. It's not so much now. She-Ra was basically just like magical autistic lesbian princesses, and then they just kind of like forced it into being like a She-Ra show. This definitely is a Masters of the Universe Eternia TV show. It's not a He-Man show. I don't really think it's a Tila show. It's very much. They needed a title that was better. Okay, first of all, they could have saved all of this problem by simply saying, He-Man is gone, and the heroes of Eternia are on a quest to find him. Then it would have been fine. Like, did Kevin Smith think that the plot was not going to leak? Seriously? Like, if you kill off He-Man, that's going to leak. So just make that part of the promotion. He-Man's died, or has he? The heroes of Eternia team up with some unlikely allies to solve the mystery. There, that's you go. You call it Master of the Universe, The Search for He-Man, The Shadow of He-Man, you know, whatever. I have the power. Revelation just means nothing. And then when they had to lie and then gaslight the fans and then attack critics, I mean, there's no really coming back from that. Like, I think Hollywood will continue to give Kevin Smith a lot of work because I think this is going to do well with normies. I think it's going to do very well. And the designs are really cool. I think the merch will do solid. But as far as the geeks who basically made him, oh yeah, he's lost to geeks forever. Here's the deal. There's more normies than geeks. And you constantly see corporations go with that, calculus. So Kevin Smith is doing fine, but he's definitely lost the people who built his career. I do recommend this. I'm really looking forward to the second half of season 1, government name season 2. But I totally understand if you're emotionally invested in it, and you're just like, I can't. There's a freaking Snake Eyes movie in theater. I'm not going to go see it because they just changed too much stuff. I read the reviews. I'm like, that's not Snake Eyes. I'm not going to go watch that. That's generic Ninja Man and generic Ninja Adventure. So anyway, I recommend it. But if you're, I don't know, like, I think the thing is, if you only loved He-Man, yeah, don't go see it. But if you love the whole world of Eternia, I do think you're going to have some fun. You just gotta apply. You gotta act like you're one of the characters in the world where nobody ever points out that Tila is a huge cunt and is acting like a twat the whole time because she's got twat armor. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.